welcome to another episode of Living Room Wisdom, where your story is your glory. I am Patrina Wisdom, author, speaker, and wealth mentor, and today I get an opportunity to interview a new friend here in Atlanta, Georgia. This is Caliah Jinaye from Caliah Jinaye Enterprises. She is a confidence coach and just an overall joy to be around, quite honestly. I remember just, a couple weeks ago when we had our intro call on Zoom, and the first thing I saw was this tiara. So we have to just talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the tiara. Please tell us a little bit about that journey and what this tiara means to you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. Yeah. It's a blessing and a privilege all at the same time. But wow, my tiara, sometimes I forget I have it on, and then someone goes, "Happy birthday," and I'm like, "Oh, it's not my birthday."
Or congratulations.
More. Yeah, they say, "Oh, congratulations." But no, I love my tiara. I own several.
Yes.
I do. I own several. And it started off while I was planning my wedding. Mm-hmm. So my husband and I are pretty newlywed. So a few years ago in the wedding planning process, and I found this amazing tiara. It's a nice, solid, thick tiara. And even from there's a backstory because I'm an only child.
Okay.
Right? My dad's in the military, retired Navy. And my dad would always make it a point to have a great relationship with me.
Okay.
And he would tell me, okay, I'm the dad, so I'm the king, your mom is the queen, and you're a princess, like in the family. That was our dynamic, okay? And I would wear my tiara on birthdays, special occasions. And it was fine. So the wedding being my ultimate special occasion, my fiance at the time was like, well, you're being promoted from princess to queen, your own queendom. So to get the biggest tiara you can find. So that's how the big tiaras came about. And I would just wear it as I would get ready, during the day. And I try it on. And while I was wedding planning, it brought me so much joy. Well, little did I know, around that same era of time, I went through several medical problems, and as a result of that, I encountered what began my journey with a diagnosis of severe anxiety and depression.
Okay.
Moments and days and weeks where I couldn't even get out of the bed. Moments where I couldn't move. I had temporary paralysis from the legs down. Wow. It was just a lot at that time.
And you had never experienced that before?
No,
And at what age was this?
I would have been 27 at the time.
Okay.
And so you're constantly moving around. I'm from San Diego, so that's a place where you are not in the bed. Okay?
No, not at all. Yeah.
And so you just wonder, and the chronic pain that came along with that situation, why is this happening to me? Well, rebuilt my strength physically, mentally, emotionally. Dust my tiara off.
Yes.
Put it on to make myself feel better.
Yeah.
And so it's a very long story to say wearing my tiara would just bring me so much joy. The privilege of life. I say that you should be the king or the queen of your own life.
True.
And reclaiming the authority, because so much over time especially as women, we parcel out the authority over our lives, or we're so conditioned to many constructs where we're not even aware that we can even reclaim the authority that's just kind of lorded over us by institutions or rules and common schools of thought. So for me, it's my head, it's my tiara.
And I love it when we were talking on Zoom and you said that your tiara is a happiness trigger.
Yes.
Right? I just remember that. Of everything we talked about, that's what I remember. And that's super powerful because we need to have triggers, We have negative triggers all day long, right? So why not ground in some positive triggers? And I love that you do that. And through doing that, not only is it a happiness trigger for you, but it's inspiring joy for other people. You told me a story about being in line at a grocery store. I'd love for you to just share that story.
Yeah, absolutely. So more recently,
Yes.
I was in the Smoky Mountains, and it was cold. It was not that long ago. And I didn't have a jacket. I don't know why I didn't have a jacket. I know it was 30 degrees outside. I didn't have a jacket, so I bopped into Eddie Bauer because they're having this huge sale on jackets. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buy a jacket. And I'm running around, I'm just looking for a jacket, just minding my own business, just trying to find a jacket, And you can like feel someone looking at you. Mm-hmm. Well, I never want to be that person that's like, I'm so beautiful and I'm so this, everyone's looking at me. But I could just, like, someone was looking at me, and I was like, okay, but focus. And so I'm with two of my girlfriends. We're living our lives, but this was like a detour on the girls' weekend, So I'm trying to be in and out. And I'm standing in line to pay for my coat, and this man comes up to me. And, I'm married. And again, you never want to be like that girl that's like, oh, he's trying to talk to me.
Right.
But I was like, hello. And he's like, I'm so sorry to bother you, ma'am, but my daughter has been watching you go around the store. Yeah. But she's too shy to come over here. And she thinks that you're really pretty. And she wants to know if she can take a picture with you.
Yeah.
And you have to say yes,
right?
Yeah. So I kneeled down. If I remember correctly, she was about between 4 and 5, and she was so shy, and she was just looking at me like I was a Disney princess or something. Aww. She was just like so wide-eyed, and I remember I was like, "Hi, are you having a good day?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Do you want to take a picture with me?" She's like, "Yes," Yeah. And we took a couple of pictures, and then he told me that she's really shy and she struggles with her confidence, even at such a young age. And I just felt humbled and honored. Like,
right.
Whoa. Yes, I wear my tiara, but I was pretty much just living my own life.
Right.
And to be making an impact on this young girl from a distance. And then I was so proud of her dad making that moment happen for her. Because he could have just been like, yes, sweetie, okay, let's go mind their own business. But he went out of his way to advocate for his daughter. And that was a great impact to me too. So it was just another reminder of people are paying attention.
Yes.
And what you put out there matters. How you carry yourself matters.
It really does.
Because I like to think I was raised with some manners. I like to think that. And so, when you wear a tiara on top of that, it's just, you don't want to be the one that's like Marie Antoinette,
And you're from Georgia?
No, I'm originally from San Diego.
Oh, that's right. But you've been here for some time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you want to be polite. You want to, put
carry yourself in a certain way, especially when you're wearing a tiara.
Yeah, you could go real left, real fast.
It can, and everyone has cameras.
Like, who does she think she is,
Absolutely. So I love this story because not only did it reaffirm your decision to use this as a happiness trigger, but it also it shows the power of how we show up in the world, and that you never know who's watching, you never know who's being affected, and we do have to be conscious and intentional about our personal brand, if you will. You don't have to be in business, you don't have to be an entrepreneur to have a brand. Your brand is just who you are, and you're showing up in your life every day. So this is kind of the journey that took you down the confidence coaching path. Tell us how you got into that industry, because who would think like, oh, I'm gonna be a confidence coach? What does that even look like?
I know. Yeah, it has been a journey. Like you said, I realized I have been given an extra measure of confidence than most people. And again, I don't say that to try to sound a certain way or to think more highly of myself than I ought to. It's just a reality. When I have a thought, it's like, okay, if I thought about it, then clearly it's possible, so let's make it happen. Not like, is it possible? Should I do this? It's like, well, I thought about it, so I'm going to try. And we're going to see it through to the end, and if I didn't like it, then we learned from that experience.
Yes.
And through different interactions and encounters I had, especially in college, where I realized that unfortunately, it's not there for a lot of people, for whatever their reason, and there's no justification for it, or there's no, it's not anyone's fault necessarily. Like, oh, they missed class that day, so they forgot that lesson. Right. Like, that's not the case. But I have learned that at some point in their life, everyone encounters some situation where they lack confidence.
Right.
You know what I mean? The most beautiful person in the world, they might have a speech impediment. You know, it doesn't matter what that looks like. So for me personally, I said, okay, I know I have this. I'm really good at talking about it. I'm very good. I'm very passionate.
Very
about
articulate.
It. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And I want to help other people. You know, because my slogan is build your confidence, change your life.
Right.
It all starts there, in my opinion, because
Sure.
you could have been blessed or been bestowed upon with the most amazing idea. Let's reach and say a cure for cancer. Right?
Yeah.
Let's just say the most brilliant scientific mind is sitting on a cure for cancer. But is too afraid to speak up and say, I did this research, it worked, defend their idea. They're just like, I don't know if anyone's going to listen to me.
Right.
We would be missing out on
That's
some
true.
very valuable information. You know what I mean? Like, that's an extreme example, but situations like that happen all of the time.
Yeah.
Where someone, they have it within themselves, but they're challenged. And it's not their fault that, that they're challenged. They just don't see a way to make that happen. And they need someone to kind of guide them through that process that's objective.
Yes.
It's not going to judge them
Right.
and put them down or make them feel bad. Like, well, why can't you just,
Yeah.
And a lot of times we are familiar with our surroundings and our family, and they go, oh, it's okay. Oh, you're not a speaker, that's fine.
Right.
Oh, you're not, but we love you anyway. And you get comfortable.
Yep.
And you just get
Settle.
kind of used to it.
Yes.
And that's just like your life, you know? But deep down inside, you might be someone who knows there's more for you. You just don't really know how to get there.
And the people who are closest to us, they can't see more for you than they see for themselves.
Right.
So you might have a vision or an inspiration, I like to say, that's far beyond anything they would have imagined. And if they can't see the path for you, they are programmed as, they're your tribe, they're your protectors. So anything that's going to threaten that, they won't be in support of. And so it takes a ton of courage and it takes a ton of confidence to step out and do something different. And what I've learned is that it really takes going out and finding your tribe, finding your community that understands you, that sees you, that maybe has walked the path that you've walked in order for you to really achieve these dreams that you have. So tell us a little bit about your support. Who do you have in place? Who are your coaches, your mentors?
Yeah.
Like, what are the things that you have in place to continue moving your vision forward?
Absolutely. So I am a serial entrepreneur. I'm multi-passionate.
Yes.
Although it all falls under the umbrella of building confidence to achieve goals, there's a lot of different ways to go about that. So
Sure.
when we talk about mentors and leaders and coaches, I've got like one in each little category.
Yeah.
On the family side, because it all starts at home, I wouldn't be anywhere without the love and support of my parents.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, that's a whole other show.
True,
in and
because
of
you
itself.
have the experience of having two parents. That alone is a show. Jeez.
Yeah, we were just on Zoom
home.
yesterday. My husband, myself, my mom, and my dad, we were just on Zoom yesterday. And my dad, to this day, he's like, support starts at home. He was just like, because, and this may be a tangent, I apologize, but he was saying, it goes back to my confidence, how he made it a point to always tell me how beautiful I was as a child, because it was his mission for me to not ever need validation from a man.
Right.
So he was explaining to my husband, eventually once we start having kids, to sow those same kinds of seeds, because of all of the many challenges my dad knew I was going to face, he never wanted that to be one of them.
Sure.
Shaping myself or building my path in the image of other people. And so that's kind of what I mean when I was like, I know I've been instilled an extra little confidence that maybe a lot of people don't have, and I don't take that
blessing.
lightly. I brag on my parents, I really do, and I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
Because of all of the challenges, my parents had me at 20.
Wow.
They married at 19, had me at 20. And they could have just been like, all right, like daycare, okay, whatever, They did the best that they knew how, and I'm just so grateful that they took the time, and instilled all those different things in me, and continue to, with my husband. So my family is a great support. My husband also, our journey to Atlanta is a whole confidence/faith story in and of itself. And so, that's on the personal side. I have the privilege to have a great mentor in Gloria Mayfield Banks. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her. She's an amazing entrepreneur in her own right. Harvard MBA grad, the #1 person, recently just retired from her career in Mary Kay Cosmetics.
Okay.
#1 internationally, just a
Wow.
powerhouse of a
Nice.
woman. And I'm grateful to that she, has let me, amongst the thousands of people that follow her, millions follow her, but thousands that are under her tutelage. During the pandemic, she hired me as her executive assistant. So I got to work very closely, with her and have for a while now. And, through that relationship, there's a lot of, mentoring and pouring in, that way. And there are, like I said, so many other leaders, but I had to at least highlight those.
There's a whole laundry list of them, but it's almost like you, with the upbringing that you've had and just somewhat of a blessed life, you almost have a responsibility to then share that with other people.
Yeah.
And you've answered that call. So that's fantastic.
Yeah,
Aw, I love it. So if there is someone out there that is struggling with their confidence, very intelligent, lots of skills, lots of ideas, big dreams, things that they really want to conquer in life, but they just don't know where to start. Maybe they're struggling from the anxiety. Maybe they're literally paralyzed from fear and lack of confidence. What would you say to them? What would be some good first steps to move closer to their dreams?
Yeah. The first thing is always the best thing, and that's to write down your vision. Because you need to get it into the real world outside of your brain, and that exists on paper. A lot of us, we like to think, it's in my mind, so it's there. If something lives in your mind, there's no accountability.
True.
There's no way to really watch it progress. So write it down, make it plain and clear. The next step is to bring in someone who you trust, who is objective enough to help you make progress, toward that goal.
Yes.
Because I break things down into the category of goals and objectives, whatever they are. So, you've got an overall objective that you want to achieve, and you've got goals along the way to help you meet that objective. And so when you're able to just get your vision down, it doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to be perfect. You take some quiet time. You want to be clear on what it is, because the first step to getting what you want is knowing what you want. Otherwise, you get what someone else wants for you.
Absolutely. Yes, that part. And that's it. We'll just end on that note. Please tell everyone where they can connect with you, whether it's social media or a website.
Absolutely. So the first and best place would be my website. That's CaliahJinaye.com. And you can find me on pretty much any social media platform under Caliah Jinaye. When you type that in, my face, my crown, they all pop
Look
up.
for the tiara.
Yeah. That's how you know you're in the right spot.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. I'm so happy that we connected. We'll stay connected, of course. And thank you for tuning in for this episode of Living Room Wisdom. I am Patrina Wisdom, and I'm excited to see you here again next week. So subscribe on my YouTube channel. Go join our community on Facebook, the Badass Bodacious Entrepreneurs Community, and make sure that you tune in weekly on all the podcast platforms to hear more inspiring interviews like this. Namaste. I love you, and we'll see you soon.